This is Gerald van Was. In this video I will explain how some words can be compiled from separate focuses as separate letters, and they can be combined in a very simplistic way a little bit as well, in this case almost like a puzzle, and some of the words need a little bit more effort, but beek actually is quite easy. Everybody can do that, and from what I already explained before, what are the separate focuses of each of these letters, B, E and K, with those previous explanations you can already compile the focus, the combined focus of beek, which has an English equivalent, brook. And from beek, the Dutch word beek, I will go to breek, which is also comparable to the English break, so I will take them together. So let's investigate these words, how they go from one letter focus to the next and how they are combined. And I will give you guidance how I take the meanings, the really unique meanings of every letter, simply by reading them out from the basic scheme. If you understand what's in there, you will understand all the letters well and what they are. The first 9 letters are about focuses in space, points in space. So let's find out where the first letter is. The letter B is in the second degree of the points in space. So it is about material that is then forming itself in space, and it is forming itself at the edges, and you have them in that way at the edges indeed. If you can see there, at the borders, at the limits, in what is forming there. The green part is always about what is forming there, what kind of material is forming there, and you can see how it is felt, sensed, seen, because it is about points in space, seen at 2 points, because that also has the number 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 points. There are 2 points at the borders, you can see where I'm landing at. So you can sense them exactly at 2 points. The next letter is the letter E. It's from the second category. This is the category which is the second kind of focus, not the points, but the directions. The directions or the changes where you need also timing. The letter E is in the middle. Again, it is about the material that is changing in time. So it is about material changes where timing happens, also again into 2 points. So we're going towards it. We go from one point to the other, and we are actually in the middle of these timing processes during the change, making the change, or this is happening during a certain time. Very easy to understand. That's the letter E. Last letter, K, is again from the first category, about focuses itself. It starts from our focus, and focuses looks for points in space. These points in space are from the first category, so of course it starts also from our focus, and they are in the third degree, so at the borders, at the limits. So it is in 1 point, so it is at the limits in 1 point, and you can find it by also following the horizontal, vertical, diagonal. The third position is always about the diagonal, so you can find it in the diagonal point. And it is also, because it starts from your focus, it's at the limit of your focus, at the border of your focus. So seen from the center of focus, this also has the extra connotation that it is a breaking point, because it's a breaking point where you can keep your focus together as one point. It's at the limits of keeping your focus as one point, and that's at the borders diagonal. So we have actually the three letters, and they can combine quite easily into one form. Let's do that. We have all these letters, so we have. So how can we combine them? It should not be too easy, but there's a small problem there that you have to solve. Also not a very difficult one, but I will give you the solution, of course. So you have the pushing at the borders. You have the A, which is during a certain time, and then the K, the breaking point, let's say from your starting point. With the double A, it will of course be stretched longer, so it's during a certain time it is stretched. If we would simply combine already the B with the E, you have these 2 points, and you can imagine, okay, you have the pressure on 2 points where they go to the borders during a longer time. But if I already tell you, if I just imagine that, I keep on steady with a steadiness, and while E is changing timing, I'm not seeing the timing. So it's not a very good thing to express it like this. So that's our problem. What we also will do is that we know that it will start from a breaking point, or it will go to a breaking point. It not just starts from it, it will go to that breaking point. So that breaking point will also be there. Now you have to use and learn to use your imagination. What's wrong here? Why can't I see the timing into 2 points? How can I do that? We know already have the B form, that's okay. So, and this is within a 2-dimensional frame. It's quite easy to see where it is and how it looks like, but time itself cannot be seen very well, because how can I have these 2 times on these 2 points the timing, so that it takes longer? How can I express it? It's actually also, it's that extra dimension. How shall I show this extra dimension while I have here a steady point, and I can't, I have to go horizontally, so how can I do that? The trick is, of course, E plus E is already about timing, but it's also about a principle that you also have in mathematics very easily. If you combine something with itself, what do you have? A with A, if you combine it, you have the square, of course. So you have also the square means if you combine A with A, combined is not 2 separate A's, because that's plus. No, it is connecting it, and connecting it can also only be done so that you have the 2-dimensional frame. The 2-dimensional frame, I mean, so you have the horizontal and the vertical together, so you have a square. So it's not just the square mathematically, it's the square, so you have this extra dimension, because how can you combine 2 things together? Okay, you just go to this extra dimension and you can see it. That's actually only what you do. How can we have to see it, so we take an extra dimension where we can see the timing. Here we can have the pressure point, and it remains at pressure point, but it remains here. So in just a 2-dimensional frame, so now I'm going from a 2 to a 3-dimensional frame, of course, so that I can see it. If I have just a pressure point and I keep on running and keep on pressing it, you don't see it. But if I have this extra dimension, I can see that I'm pressing it the whole time. So now a little further, then you can see these changes. You can see the timing. You can see what I'm doing for a longer time. So 2 times e is that as well. If you had a word with just one e, which is a different word, which if you know what it's the beak, for instance, with the which in Dutch is beek. You will have that. You will stay in one place, and you will have to change the form accordingly to what the beak is, but okay, that's another story. Nevertheless, it will be good to express beek as well, so I will express beek and beak. So what is still missing here, the B, is that breaking point. That breaking point also says I have to break my general limits, actually. So I have to be careful not to go too wide with it. I have to break it somewhere, so until here is my reality, and that's what it also will have to do. I will have to limit it. I did that on top already, as you can see. The form itself needs to be broken open at that point of K, because that K is that limiting point. And there I will create the beak, and with just one letter. You don't need this extra dimension. You only have the 2-dimensional frame is good enough. And I have beak, which means beak, which is the beak of the bird, because that is what I have already. It's that breaking open point there. In beak, I have this extra dimension. I also have this longer stretched timing. In beak, it's just like it is used only to open the beak or the beak. But here I have this combined with e, so I have this square root e, so I have to go to this extra dimension, and I stretch it into the extra 2 dimensions in timing, where I can see, oh, there is something changing here, there is something evolving here at that point, the whole time, not just once, so that I can break open the beak. No, a longer time, and so that I have this a whole time. I keep this pressing the whole time. What I also will have with the B, it's that border thinking. It will have to have a certain irregularity with K as well, and so on. It is that adaptation process in the end. So I have to adapt a little bit into that position. So the A has to adapt in time to the B with K, and that's why it also will create an irregularity, because it's in the 3rd position. And with, of course, also a certain length. So during a certain length, it will have some variations. So you have these points of B that will be broken open from underneath, and that's the brook, actually, as we see it, or the small river, river, it is not, a small water stream that you have there, and which is available in that area. So that's actually quite easy as a word, but you have to think a little bit. You have to think along with the positions, what you have to do with them. You have to be very conscious of what you need to do as what they express. So I will be a little bit more complete with the English version. Beak, you will have the A focus towards it, to it. So you also have a focus then that I want to focus upon what do I have here, preferably as an object. And I can make it an object. And I also have this function that changes. I have the B from which is closed here with a certain timing, it will open. So the B with the A, it will open it will actually open its beak, and that's what how you can easily express and understand what expresses the word beak as well. But okay, where we're going, we're already having an extra word. Well, let's go to break now. For break, we need an extra letter. So we have already the B, we have the E, the B, which is pushing the points, 2 points at the border, E during a certain time, and a breaking point. We will need an extra letter, which is the letter R. R plus A, of course. The A will be needed as well here compared to the Dutch word that we had before of beek. So I will express what is the letter R, that you can understand it well when we look it up into our system. It's a letter from the last category, which is about limiting frames via context and via feedback, the most difficult ones, because you have to figure out by positioning and by comparison where what do we have now and what is the regularity in what we see, that we can still have an order there. Where is it? It's about material. It's in the second category of this feedback or context-based framing of our letter positions. And there we will have the decisive moment where we can connect the material. It's at the so you connect the material to its limits. So you find its limits, and you will find where you can connect the material at the right time and place. Quite theoretical, but that's the point and position which it described. So really have to understand them well to use them correctly. So the letter R is a bit more difficult as the first two categories. The first category is the most easy ones with the points in space, as you can see here in blue. And where is the letter A, the most easy one? It's about the focus where we start from, and it's our starting point. It's our main starting point. As you can read here, you start from the center, which is in this case the center of our focus. So we have to have these letters together, so the B, the E, the A, the K, and before that also the R to connect. So we have pushing points at the borders during a certain time with a breaking point, which will be connected to something. To something real or a real timed moment actually. So we have here the brr, which is trying to see, okay, what will happen to our material in the second position, because the R is about second position, will be connected the point where we will find the time and space that will be will show us what will happen and what will be needed. The E will be the timing, so yes, it's these breaking points again, so, and it's connecting material, and it takes a time, so that is at this point is still understandable. And then the breaking point, which of course will go from our center of attention first with the double E in the Dutch word. It will have, it will take again longer. It will take the time, and it will show the time. It will show its time process until K, the breaking point. So it will show the breaking point as well. With the A extra, gives it extra focus again, that it is about almost something physical. What is actually seen here, like R, it connects all the material that you need and all the connection that you need, so that you know the time and place. And the letter A makes it more physical. So when it makes it more physical, it also shows this interruption here, this breaking point actually between what is breaking up and what is really breaking. It gives it also like a moment where this breaks. It is a breaking moment. It gives it a break in a way as well. So all these associations can be associated from there. The R is a more difficult category, but I think you can have a grip on it. Why this R is there? It's timing actually. This whole process of breaking, and sees, okay, from where to where do we have a real reality where we can focus upon, which shows you where that where you have that breaking point actually between not breaking and breaking. It takes a time, but you see there is a range, and that shows that range of the break. Brook, I think, is also a possible word, because that's one of the English words for the beek, the way I started with, the beek, the small stream, water stream, also starts for the English with br, and it goes to the o. So I have to also explain o, where you have it in my system. It's about in the second category, it's about changes, about directions. Where do you see it? If you just read it, it says continuation with a starting point. It is about directions, so it is a continuation of directions forward also, so in a horizontal way. So in progression, it's making a change, and it's actually also the starting point of change of material actually as well. So that's that O position, and this derives us in meaning and in connotation of O, that it will also show you the moment or the localization of where the space, the first category D and Y, where the orientation on space is exceeded with elements, that now says no, the elements themselves need timings, need time schedules. They will enter here the world of timing. From here onwards we will need timing. It's the environment in which, like for instance, if we have our body and we have our arms, the arms are in that environment where it will have its own movements. That's the letter O. So it goes from space to an area in which there will be everything will be directed to where it will receive time process, where also the material will receive time processes. To express it, you see, of course, here the brook, it starts from a breaching point as well. This breaching point is the same as the break, but it will go towards O. You see, we know that the brook, or what will immediately be available and sensible immediately, is that it will also be related with that breaking point, that where the material is breaking up a little, that much, so that it can have that breaking point indeed, in which something is made free to stream, to have a direction, to go its own direction. It's not really an association with water, but that's the sense that I get, is that you have actually a whole space of earth, let's say, and there's a certain point where you say, oh, it breaches, like a water breaches, and the water can have its own direction. It's that kind of breaking point, a soft power actually, not much more than that actually, which doesn't make it easy to imagine well and to express it well, but I will try. So you have this breaking point, which first is that A is something like I have this like I'll show you the A environment of the B, where the B starts from. So the breaking point there, it is still physical, but it goes into the environment and find the breaching point where it actually breaches its own free directions until it can go its own direction. That's what it's actually happening here. So that is also, for me, I think it's also about the breaching point, which is reached, where things can flow its own direction. So I hope the combination of letters was a bit more clear. R isn't an easy one, so if this was too difficult, okay, sorry that I also included that one. But you should have an idea of how to combine the B and the E and the K, and also why the A, the letter A, changes the focus a little bit, and how the K, the breaking point, changes the material also. But the R as well should be already a little bit more clear in these examples. I hope you enjoyed this one. Thanks again for watching. Bye.